Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. Before I forget, Lazy J20s, I'm now fully booked up on those. I've sold out of all the rebuild slots for the rest of the year. So unfortunately, if you wanted to get one done, it will have to now be in 2026. So I can't do any more this year. I'm fully booked up, which in one way is good news. In the other way, it's a bit sad really, isn't it? But there you go. It's what it is. We'll get loads of those sounding really cool, really good. Feedback so far has been fantastic. Players are really loving the way that these things are turning out, which I guess is a wonderful compliment. Quick update on this PR35 build. This is the one that we're doing in a JTM 45 sized chassis rather than the classic Fender shape. So a little bit of things that we're doing differently, bits and pieces like that. Anyway, so you've seen me populate it, you've seen me fit the transformers, sockets, got the Pozzolin on the front, drilled and punched the chassis, blah, blah, blah. I've started making the board and I've nearly populated it and the board does fit in, but curiously, I am missing the 322 microfarad filter caps for B plus 2, 3 and 4. I know I ordered enough in my last order, but in my stash I am exactly 3 missing, and it's the 3 that I need for this, and I don't know where they've gone. But I definitely ordered them, and so it's really annoying because when I do big orders I have a spreadsheet and I work out exactly what I need to order. And so I shouldn't ever be in this situation, but I don't know where they've gone. And I know I haven't used them on a repair or something else. So they must be, what I think I've done is put them in a little bag somewhere separate to everything else, but I can't remember where it is. So I'm really annoyed. So until I find those, I can't finish the board, but that's okay. That's fine, because now that the board is pretty much done and sitting in the chassis, as you can see, it can actually come out and be put to one side, and I can start doing most of the chassis wiring. So that's kind of where we are with that. It's coming on quite nicely. There's no real urgency for this build to be completed, as in, what am I trying to say? Obviously it needs to be built, but it's not top priority on the list, so I can come back to it every now and again and do a bit more and crack on with it. And it's really fun to do it that way, because I think, right, I've got half an hour till the end of the day. Do I start a new repair or a new project, or do I just spend a little bit of time working on this? So it's kind of being built bit by bit, but it's really enjoyable. Really enjoyable indeed. So yeah, that's going to go back on the shelf for the time being. Until I next get some time to get some stuff done and I get those caps in stock. This is a Plexi 18 and that's come back in for it's come back under warranty, which is quite unusual because my stuff rarely comes back, but when it does, quite happy to sort it out. Customer complaint on this one is, he said the standby switch is quite noisy, and the second channel, you're getting some big volume jumps going on with it. Now, standby switch problem, I would start by looking at the switch itself in case there's a problem with the internal contacts, causing some arcing and popping noises going on there. We'll get into that. We'll have a good look. I always fit a bypass resistor to standby switches that sit, in fact, to any of my standby switches, because it allows a trickle current to flow at all times. But we'll check all that out, make sure everything is good. And with these volume jumps, it's on the second channel only, which is really interesting. So I'm going to get into that, see what I can find. But first thing I do, whenever something comes back in under warranty, not that I don't trust my customers, because I absolutely do, but I do reserve the right just to check the amplifier out, make sure nobody else has been in here, done any modifications or repairs that weren't authorized by myself, just so I know that the work that I am fixing and repairing is my own work and my own responsibility, and I'm not covering somebody else, right? It's happened before where, you know, somebody brought something in for warranty work, and turns out that another tech was in there messing around. Now, I can't cover somebody else's work. That's not the way it works out, right? So just reserve the right, just check everything out, make sure nobody else has been in here. Nobody's been trying to do any silly mods or messing around or tweaking. Now, that's not the case here. It's as it left the factory. I do have photos of this exact build when it happens. In fact, you probably saw this one on the channel. And I can confirm that there's nothing in here which is different to what happened, or to how it was when it left the factory. So what left the factory? Left the workshop. Yeah, definitely not a factory here. Whilst it's in here, I have actually been working behind the scenes on a few little tweaks and upgrades to the Plexi 18. So whilst it's here, I'm going to go ahead and do those, make sure it's the absolute latest spec with customer approval, of course. But I shall just go through and make sure everything is as it should be. We'll check the valves out as well, in case it's a valve problem. I don't expect it would be, but you never know. And we'll get this thing turned around and shipped directly back to the customer. It's actually quite rare when a Fender amp comes into the workshop, the model of which I've not seen before. And that's the case for this, the Prosonic, which, please correct me if I'm wrong, is a mid-90s design. I think, and again, this is the sort of stuff I should look up before filming content, I think this is almost like a precursor to the Supersonic. Might be wrong on that. Anyway, this is owned by a chap called Andy. If you're watching, Andy, hello. He's dropped it in. He's owned this for quite a long time now, and he's done various modifications and tweaks to this over the years. Originally, it was a combo. The Prosonic was available as a head as well, but his one is a combo, which he wanted to do a head conversion on, and he squeezed it somewhat rudimentarily, you know what I mean, into a spare deluxe reverb head shell. The chassis doesn't quite fit. You can see there are some panel gaps here on the end, and the chassis is actually deeper than the cabinet, so it's sticking out at the back, and I'll show you that shortly. He's done, as I said, he's done various modifications and tweaks and work on this over the years, trying to improve the sound. He only uses it as a clean pedal platform. So, and everything he's done to this amp is based around improving that particular side and usage of this model. He's brought it in for me to do some work on it, and it's got... he's given me a list of 4 items in a priority order. So he's got a number 1 thing that absolutely wants to get fixed. And then if we've got time, we can do number 2. If we get time, we could do number 3. And if there's any time and it's not going to cost much money, we can do item number 4. And I'm going to walk you through what those are. The first one, the main item, number 1 on Andy's list, is he wants me to make this amplifier safe, which made me howl with laughter, because he wants me to redo a lot of the work inside, make sure there's no electric shock risks, make sure that for any user it's going to run safely and reliably. But his words, make it safe. So we'll need to do a full visual inspection, see what's going on inside, both on the top side of the chassis and inside as well. Make sure there's nothing that stands out and makes us go, oh dear, we need to fix that quick. And if there is, we'll add that to the list. Item number 2 is the reverb does not work. He said it was intermittent at first and now it doesn't work at all. And what I found, even before opening this thing up, is the reverb control just keeps spinning. It might just be that the knob is loose on the potentiometer shaft, but it does feel odd as well. There's definitely some play in there. So that's something to investigate. We'll check the tank out. It has had a replacement reverb transformer in the past, a mercury magnetics unit. So again, we'll check that that's okay. We'll check the reverb connections and sockets. We'll check the reverb cable. We'll check, I don't know if the reverb in this is valve driven or if it's an op amp. I haven't looked at the schematic yet, so we'll have to look at that. But number 2 on his list was get the reverb working. Item number 3 is that there is a transformer hum. History on this amplifier: at some point in its life, Andy replaced all of the transformers in the amplifier, the power transformer, the output transformer, the choke, and the reverb transformer, as previously mentioned, with mercury magnetics units. He said when they were doing that, he could eliminate this hum by rotating the output transformer 90 degrees, but because of the size of the unit, there isn't actually space to mount it that way on the chassis. And I'll show you more details on that later as to, okay, well, the obvious fix might be to rotate the power transformer 90 degrees. Well, again, there might not be space. We are space limited, so we'll look at various options for that as well. So that was item number 3. And finally, item number 4 is that the drive channel, or the gain channel, is simply dead. It does not work. You've got a switch on the front here, normal and drive. Drive channel doesn't work. Now, the reason it's number 4 and lowest priority for Andy is that he doesn't use that channel, so it's not a problem. But if while we're in there and we're working on it and we can fix it quickly as part of the rest of the work, then he would like me to do that. So there you go. The Fender Prosonic, an amp I've not had in before, and of course it's not stock, it's been modified. Oh, that was the other thing. He's running this with KT66s and not 6L6s. It should only be 60 watts, he says, but he said it sounds much louder than that. So we will be taking some power measurements on the test bench so we can check this thing out and see what it's like. Okay, so as always, first thing we always do is a full visual inspection. So let's crack on. Right, yeah, I mean, look at those panel gaps. They are huge. But it's because it's the wrong head shell for the chassis, or the wrong chassis for the head shell, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, so we'll start at this end. Got 2 inputs, like standard Fender really. A normal and drive switch. We've talked about that before. Volume control. Then you've got the 2 gain controls, and apparently the drive channel is it's like a cascaded gain thing. I haven't looked at the schematic yet, so I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I assume one gain is for one channel and the other is for the second. Got a 3-band EQ, treble, bass and middle. Why they do this, I don't know. Why not put the middle in the middle where everyone expects it to be? It does seem bizarre, doesn't it? Got a master volume here, and we've got the reverb control, as we mentioned before, that doesn't work. And that pot is feeling very strange. Right, so that's the front. As I spin this around, oh, I should have put the Susan on the bench. You can see that the chassis does not fit. So the old lip hangs out at the back here. He's used it to label the outputs here, so that's he's kind of made the best of it, right? Okay. Let's make sure you can see anything. On the back, we've got the on-off switch. There, we've got our mains fuse. The fuse holder is loose, so that's going to need tightening. We've got a 3-position rectifier switch. In position A, you've got, well, it says rectifier in class. So we zoom you in to show you. There you go. Position 1, tube A. Position 2, tube AB2. And position 3, solid state in operating mode AB2. So I assume AB2, the way Fender have labelled it, is a fixed bias mode, and in position 1 it's cathode biased. Be interesting to find out. We've got a standby switch here. Moving over, 2 speaker outputs, 8-ohm minimum load, parallel jacks there, foot switch socket. We've got an effects loop, send and return, and it is serial number 236270. So we've got quite, oh my dear, quite a long mains cable. We'll get that out of the way. These KT6, these valve springs, obviously not designed for KT66s, so they're really stretched there. I'm just going to pull these out. Gold Lion. Look like they've had a hard life. Get this one too. Oh, that was in there tight. There we go. Yeah. Obviously it's been running quite hot. Discoloration on the base there. Right, we've got a GZ34 rectifier. JJ unit. Very cool. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 preamp valves. If we do this, we can see the mercury magnetic transformers. So you've got the main transformer here, and that is a massive unit. I'm going to have to look up whether it's the correct unit or an appropriate unit for this amp. You've got to assume it is, but you never know. Here's the output transformer. You can see its proximity to the mains transformer right there. And you can also see what am I trying to say? Yeah, the orientation of them as well. There's your choke there, and you've got your reverb transformer there. We've got, oh, we do have a doghouse on these. That's interesting. Shall we pull the chassis from the cabinet, and then we can just have a quick look over? So it'll be my first time looking inside these. He did tell me it's a dual layer PCB, which made my heart sink a little bit, but what can you do? Can you see? Can we see everything? Here we go. Wired valve sockets. What did he mean it's a dual layer PCB? What is he talking about? Does he mean it's just 2 PCBs? Okay. So, first thing I notice, you may have spotted other things. Let me get a pointer. First thing I noticed is that all the pots along the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, are all dual gang pots. Interesting. Okay. There has been some work done. Apparently he was doing a lot of tone experimentation with this amplifier. So you can see he's changed out some caps here and here. Some very interesting soldering work going on. He wants to make all of this good. We come up here. There's again some interesting stuff going on. So I have to work all of this out. I mean, right, okay. Lots going on there. I think he was A-Bing certain different values to work out what he preferred. There's something going on with this diode arrangement here. Okay. We've got all sorts going on. There. So they've been swapped out. Looks like we've had some other work done up here. I haven't seen a blue blob in a while. Look at that. We've had, I assume these are the output stage coupling caps. They've been swapped. He said he cut the bright cap, so I wonder where that was. If you come over here, looks like they've added a cap to the master volume control here. That's a 47 picofarad silver mica. That's going to go. Put something more appropriate in. I'm going to assume this is the bias board, maybe, part of a filter board. We've got, again, some very interesting soldering going on all around where they've subbed in that other transformer. Any idea? Love stuff like this. Let's check out the sockets at the back here. This looks like a replacement socket, and we've got a 470 ohm resistor on here that's looking very toasty. Right. The one on this socket looks rough, but not too bad. Again, some very interesting soldering going on the rectifier socket. So this is all needs to be made good. Check everything out. Fascinating. Also, I've just spotted, look at that solder joint. Wonderful. Okay. So that's eye-opening, I think. We've learnt quite a lot. So we're going to have to do some definite working through, make a plan of attack, work through each stage separately. I always like to start with power supplies, make sure the back end of the amplifier is good, and so the output stage, the power supply, and then work on the preamp. Fascinating. We need to have a think about this transformer orientation. So I move the cabinet out of the way. Oh, I tell you what, it weighs a lot. So what do we have then? The Tone Clone Plus Proson piece. That must be the correct unit for the Prosonic. It is huge though, isn't it? It is huge. Look at the size of that thing. I mean, that's got a massive stack on it. Absolutely massive. 2.5 inch stack. The output transformer is huge as well. Now, I would argue the way I usually do them is I would see they mounted them based on the mounting, where the mounting holes are. But Andy was saying he couldn't mount this the other way around. Is it because of the chassis holes? I think it is. There's a chassis hole back here. So that's why they couldn't mount it that way. But you see, they are 90 degrees to each other, so why is the hum there? That's something to investigate, isn't it? Prosonic output transformer, Prosonic choke. Okay, should we just pull the doghouse off? Where's my drill? Where's my drill? Guys, over here. If we have a look, see if these caps have been done. Okay, place your bets now. What are we going to find? Sorry, this thing is moving today. Why are you misbehaving? There you go. What are we going to find underneath the doghouse? I don't know if they're factory or not, but these are radial caps that have been in here, modified, I would assume. So we've definitely got some stuff going on. Right. Some staining on the inside of the... Do you think we've had a cap failure before? I think we have, or a resistor's gone. Sorry, let me show you. That's resistor smoke that's done that. And there's still remnants of it here. So it's had a big resistor failure in the past. Sorry, it's had a resistor go up in smoke. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I never get the easy ones, do I? Right, okay. At least I know what it is. Right, I'm going to put all this back. So I'm going to... so his number one priority is to make the amp safe, which is to redo most of this work. So we're going to start with this board, then we'll look at the other power board on the inside. Then we can look at this transformer hum. Then look at his reverb problem, or his reverb second. Can't remember. Anyway, it's all going to be done. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did not see what I thought I'd see. That's incredible. So yeah, thanks Andy. I appreciate the work. I will come up with a plan of attack for this thing and see what we can end up with. Moving on. Realised I haven't done an update on is it a Tremolux? I was about to say Vibrolux. The Tremolux. This is the one that's in the brown head shell. The one that Josh, our good friend Noisy Josh, owned. Sold it to another of my customers. I'm doing some work on it. Customer has, I'm not sure if I told you on the channel yet, but he's decided to do a combo conversion on it. It's going to keep the head shell as well, so he can always return it to its original state. So he's having a 1x12 combo made, and we're supplying that to perfectly fit the chassis, which is good news. So that's currently being made for me and him. And him and me. I've yet to do any of the remedial work on the chassis, because until that comes back, there's absolutely no point. We're also swapping out this output transformer. Remember, this is already a replacement. We've had one wound by our good friends over at Modulus to the correct impedances, but we're doing an 8-ohm conversion because that's what the customer wants to run. So this has now got an 8-ohm secondary on it rather than 4-ohm. Which is what the customer wants. We've got the rest of the service work to do as well. So the recap. So I've got the F&Ts there all ready to go. Going to rebuild the filter board We've got all the internal work as well. Hardwire it with a 240 volt UK mains cable, etc, etc, etc. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure the customer told me which speaker he's going to put in the cabinet. The cabinet, by the way, is going to be brown, like the head shell is. So this amp that lived in Hawaii for such a long time is getting pretty much the full spa treatment, which is good. So when the cabinet arrives, I can crack on with the rest of the work. Get this thing turned around, get this done. It's going to sound great. It's going to be brilliant. I'll just remember show you the insides. It's a bit rough, so we've got a lot of work to do. I don't know if you guys remember, but it had the opto-trem circuit removed, and it's had a bias tremolo circuit fitted, you know, from a brown panel style amplifier. So that's been done. I've still got more work to do in here. A lot of cleaning of this mess and stuff up. But yeah, that's where that is. I'm sure there was something else. Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, so this is the standard black panel channel, and this one is a brown channel or blonde channel, whichever way you want to look at it. And he's decided to keep it that way, so he's got two different voicings. So, and we're not going to be reverting that back to as the chassis probably was originally built. I'm working my way through a bit of a batch build on Ainsley Lister signatures. So I'm doing 4 boards at the moment, and yeah, I'm working my way through them. I've got one complete now, but I've noticed something quite interesting because I opened a new roll of solder, the same solder that I always buy. It's a German brand called Felder, and this time when I ordered a replacement, I always buy 1 kilo rolls of solder at a time. It's a cheaper way of buying it, even though it's a large outlay at the time. Anyway, the new stuff, it came in a slightly different colour roll, holder, spool, whatever you want to call it. Same data sheet, but it's definitely got a slightly higher flux content because I'm getting a lot more flux coming out of the solder than I used to. So than I have on previous boards. So I'm a little bit annoyed because I've now got to spend time cleaning that up, whereas the old stuff didn't. See that there? It looks crap, doesn't it? And that's just flux that's was in the solder, but the data sheet remains the same. But it's definitely got a higher flux content than the old stuff. So maybe they have changed it and they haven't updated the data sheet or whatever. But it's just now I've got to sit there and clean it all off and make it look good. Whereas before I didn't have to do it as much. But there you go. Anyway, so that's one board pretty much done. About to start the second one. I still need to drill a couple more holes in these two, but we're getting there slowly. I'm trying to fit that balance. So I can't even talk. Right. I'm trying to find a balance between building things one at a time, which ensures that you don't duplicate any mistakes over and over again, but also building in batches to help speed things along, right? So you're trying to find that balance. And I love it. It's absolutely fascinating. I'm really enjoying the process. So a quick background on that, or quick example. When you build in batches, let's say you do 50 boards, and I did them all at once in one big go, and I made a mistake on one of them, there's a high chance you'd make a mistake on all of them because you're just doing the same process over and over and over again, and then you've got to live with that mistake for quite a long time. If you build one at a time, from start to finish all the way through, you then, and you make a mistake, or you discover a mistake or something that's not quite right, or you need to make a change, you can apply that instantly to board number 2, and then repeat that process over and over, and it reduces mistakes like that. So there are upsides and downsides to building in batches versus building one at a time. And I'm really enjoying trying to find a way to combine the two that works for me. Get things done in small batches, I think is a fair way to do it, whilst also retaining the chance to make changes and spot any errors as I go. Fascinating. Finally got this thing finished off. Now, this was a bit of a side quest, a little extra project that I took on for the customer who owns the Gretsch Country Gentleman. He contacted me and said he really likes 1-watt amps. He's a big fan of them, and would I be interested in building one for him based on one that he'd seen before. And I thought, yeah, why not? We'll give it a go. Quite champish in a way. A single input on this one, volume control, that's it really, on off switch. The only other feature which is on the rear is obviously it's got an 8-ohm output. It's also got a line out output which silences the 8-ohm output, and so you can plug that directly into your recording device or whatever. Yeah, so you can use it for silent practice and recording. But that's about it really. A single 12 AX7 in the preamp and a EL84 running in almost what we might call starvation mode, not quite, but yeah, running very low output for just 1-watt clean. I did actually show you many videos ago the performance of this thing on the scope, but we've stuck it in this quite simple head shell cabinet, white plates, quite a classy look. I think it's quite nice, quite simple as well, bit of a project vibe to it, but really interesting. I'll put some internal shots up on the screen, all labeled correctly, of course, IEC socket, properly fused, bits and pieces like that. So and the crucial thing is we've left enough. The cabinet does look quite tall, but that's mainly so you don't have to remove the chassis to replace the valves. I mean, you can just reach in and pull your valve out without needing to remove the chassis from the cabinet. So there is headspace for that. It also helps with cooling as well. This thing, of course, is convection cooled, so we've got enough space there for all of that to happen. So yeah, really happy with this. I think the customer is going to be really pleased. It does sound great. I don't know what he's going to plug into it, but it's come out quite nicely. A fun little project. Now, because it's turned out so well, I am thinking of maybe doing a few more of them. So if anyone is interested, maybe get in touch. It really is a no frills build, right? So don't expect anything, massively over the top. But it's quite a simple thing. Sounds fantastic. UK made transformers, hand wired by me. A lovely. This is actually a pine cabinet rather than birch ply. We've gone for a pine style cabinet. Covered in. This is Fender style black Tolex. Remember, we put the chrome corners on all 4. You could have it with as many corners as you want or as little as you want, whatever. But yeah, quite nicely. It doesn't weigh a lot at all. I'd say that's probably no more than 5 kilos. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, all done and dusted. Before we go, just a reminder on the, or just an update really on the Prosonic. It is now at the back of the repair queue, so you might not see a video update on it for a while because I've got other stuff to get to first, but I thought it'd be really interesting just to do a brief check out, see what's going on with that amp, make a plan just in case there's anything that we need to think about long term. But yeah, that's now back in the queue, and look out for it because it will be in a future video. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell just in case I put out any new videos. If you're feeling super Jonas, why not join the channel like these guys have, and I will catch you all at the next one. I know some of you really don't care, but we'll do a bit of a race car update for you. So what was the last thing you knew about the Mazda? It was, yeah, just before I went on holiday, it was going in for a new gearbox and new clutch and bits and pieces. Well, the guy forgot, so it hasn't had a new gearbox fitted, hasn't had a new clutch fitted, and I can't be bothered to do it myself in jack stands, so we're going to carry on running the current box in it until it fails, and hopefully it doesn't fail during a race. But that's fine, it's all part of what it is. I was quite annoyed because he fobbed me off a bit and said, oh yeah, I thought you were coming in the morning. But no I wouldn't agree to that because I work in the morning. But anyway, it is what it is. But he's no longer getting my business. Don't mess me around like that. So yeah, we need to start prepping this car for the race next weekend, first weekend in August, which is over at Snetterton in Norfolk, where it's one of my bogey circuits. It's not my fastest circuit, nor is it one where I've ever had a really good result, and so hopefully we can turn that around this time. But we've got bits and pieces to do. I want to change some fluids on the car. It's time we do. I need to do an oil filter change. I will do the gearbox and diff oils now anyway. Now we're halfway through the season, so we'll get those done. This engine does burn a lot of oil, and that's more of a what am I trying to say? It's more of a just because it runs at high RPM all the time. It burns roughly 1 litre or 1/4 of oil for every hour of running, so we're constantly feeding it oil. But it is what it is. It's a race engine. It uses oil. So, but I do change the filter out quite regularly. But yeah, we'll just check its level now, see where we are. Get you set up. Make sure you can see what's going on. I can't remember if I topped this up after the last race or not, so we're about to find out. I mean, the oil is always generally quite clean, but then again, because I'm feeding it so much oil all the time, it burns it before it gets old. Yeah, we got loads of oil in there. That's good enough for me. Other basic, I mean, it doesn't use any coolant either, this engine, which is good. You check under the oil cap, make sure there's no milkshake going on, which there's not. Oil temps have been good lately, so we're certainly not abusing the oil. It runs kind of exactly where you want it to be. Can I show you inside? The inside is certainly not brown and stained. It's all nice and clean. I think this head's got around 35, 40 hours on it now of race time. So yeah, barely even broken in. Probably needs a refresh at some point, but we're certainly not going to worry about that. Whilst it's still making good power and running well, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So oil level's good. As I said, it never ever uses coolant. See, still full, and it's not brown, it's nice and pink, and it's not milky. And the overflow, we're just below the maximum in there. So yeah, it doesn't use coolant either. It doesn't get hot, which is good news. So that's that. Brake fluid. This gets bled every race weekend anyway, so that's as fresh can be. Clutch fluid. We recently did a full clutch fluid replace. That's before the start of the season, actually. Also, be careful with brake fluid. A little bit darker, isn't it? Maybe we need to have another flush on that. Sol, that's a job for you, mate, if you're watching. So that's all of the fluids under here. Gearbox and diff. And then just basic nut and bolt check. Stuff like that. This is our fuel drain, by the way. How we remove fuel from the car. So we got a dry brake here that disconnects, and we turn that. This is the return line to the tank, so we just feed off there, stop it going back to the tank, and it all comes out here, and we can drain it out that way. It's quite cool. What else have I got to do to the car? Just nut and bolt the suspension, really. Apart from that, that's about it. That is about it. Oh, we need to check the front wheel alignment as well. Don't need to go back for a full chassis setup, but we do need to check that we've got our 2mm toe out. It's exactly where the car likes to be. Smell of coolant now. What does the radiator look like? Can we see? Not really, it's not focusing on it. But we'll just go around, give the car a full check out, make sure it's all running well, update the ECU if there's any firmware updates for that, stuff like that, you know, standard stuff. And then what else have I got to do? Yeah, just fuel it really. So do you remember at Anglesey I did the extra free practice session first thing in the morning, and that really helped actually. Normally I don't find that I don't get that much out of testing. I normally like to just be thrown in the deep end and just have to go for it. But having that 20-minute session first thing in the morning, it really helped us just tweak the car and dial it into exactly where it needs to be. So we managed to do what we normally do in the qualifying session in that first session, and then we could spend the qualifying session refining the car even further for the race, which we did, and it made a huge difference. So I've booked that again. So just trying to get every little advantage I can take to make the most out of that circuit, because it's, as I said, it's not one of my best. I know I can go faster there, but it's a tricky circuit. It's surprisingly tricky, and because it's a power circuit and it's an underpowered car, it's difficult, right? Anyway, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, once I have an update, I will let you know.